Hey yo, peace. What's happening? Now in this video, I'm talking about Atlanta again. Yeah, I'm talking about the South again. What you gonna do about it? And look, somebody in my comment section was telling me, "Hey man, stop bashing the South. Hey man, stop talking about Atlanta." Listen, bro, step off. Real talk, step off. Stop watching my content. You don't have to watch it. I'm not forcing you to click the video. I'm not forcing you to put it in your queue. I'm not forcing you to do anything. I'm not making clickbait interactions. Come on, bro. Step off. Stop watching my content. Beat it. Now, and look, you know what? Let me go ahead and give you guys the reality of living down south, right? And again, it doesn't matter what state it is. Well, anything below Maryland, really. But man, once you go down south past Virginia, past Maryland, man, listen, things get real. And listen, one thing about the South, but let me stay on topic. It's about Atlanta, right? One thing about Atlanta, there's a lack of jobs. Listen, I already said it before in plenty of videos. Most people in the United States of America, listen, they do not have a college degree. They do not have any certifications. They do not have any skills. Most people are just NPC workers. Listen, the man that invested his money, John D. Rockefeller, into the education system, he said, listen, we don't want a nation of thinkers. We want a nation of workers. Listen, black people were already brought over here on a ship by Jews. Yes, we understand it's a white man, but by Jews, right? We were brought here on these ships. So do what? To do what? Work. Just fucking work. So again, down south, again, now that things have progressed past 1865, yes, things have been built up more. Things are now progressing. But what you don't realize is down south is still majority African American people. And again, to weed out the people, to strip them of more opportunity, listen, there's a system down south. The market for jobs are terrible. The pay down south is very low. And again, in order to make money, you need a college degree. You need a trade, or you have to be an entrepreneur. Most people will not go to college or even get a trade, and double the amount of people that don't go to college and or get a trade will not become an entrepreneur. So down south, man, your only option is to suffer. And you know, again, I mentioned before, I lived in Atlanta for about 5.5, close to 6 years. And trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I lived down there before. Listen, people are going through it. And see, not only that, down south, again, if you guys move as a black person, right? And I'm specifically making content for black men. Let me say this before I move on to number 2. When I was living there, one thing I realized, black men don't move to Atlanta unless he was trying to pursue rap music, entertainment. He want to be an actor or something. And, you know, most guys are not doing that. Without entertainment, people will not move down south. People will not move to these southern metropolitan cities where, listen, they're trying to show you entertainment. Entertainment is just to distract you. Hence watching TV. Hence watching movies. They're just to distract you. They're just to pump and push agendas and push images. So boom, right? When you come down south as a black man, if you're coming down south from, you know, up north, Midwest, West Coast, one thing you're going to catch on to, right? You're going to end up playing keep up with the Joneses. See, as a black man, you can't play that game with Whitey. You know what I mean? You can't play that game with Carlos, Hector, You can't play that game with Lee, the yellow man. You know what I mean? You can't play that game with Haji. You know what I mean? The brown man. You can't play that game with them. You can't play that game with Uzbah. If you guys listen, that's more Middle Eastern. But you can't play that game with them because we're not in the same socio-economical tax brackets. So blacks can only play that game with other blacks. And again, when you go down south, you realize, yes, 55% of African Americans live in the South. So it's competition. There is competition between blacks. It's an underlying thing. And that's what people don't realize. And not only don't realize, not willing to talk about. See, because you see a lot of blacks, you think I'm home. Wrong. Down south, Atlanta, right? Classism exists. If you don't have money or at least look like money, black people are not checking for you. Keep it. I'm gonna just keep it a stat. If you don't look like money or you can't physically prove to people that you have money, they're not checking for you. That's the reality down south, man. And you know, it's so many factors when you move down south that people don't realize. But I think the biggest one, and I mentioned this in one of my videos, right? I might have ruffled some feathers, but the reality is, man, listen, blacks, they do have low IQ. Let's keep it a stack. African Americans have low IQ. Again, I'm not saying it's due to, well, part of it is due to environment. And again, the lower IQ brackets tend to be in the South. I'm not talking out my ass, bro. Anything I'm saying, trust me, I did the research. I'm not just talking out my ass. I'm not pulling mystery facts out of thin air, bro. You can look it up. You can look it up. But see, the problem is, and this is moving into number 3, and this is why, blacks, as far as in America, we're gonna be at the bottom. Again, who else to say stuff like this other than a black man? As a black man, I'm the best critic of my race because why? I'm living it day by day, week by week, month by month. I'm living it. Trust me. So again, we already know down south, right? The IQ is low. It's about, well, for African Americans, it's actually around 80. That's dangerous. If I'm not mistaken, borderline retardation is like 75. But again, if you never been down south, if you never, visited the South, whatever the case may be, if you look at, African American blacks, idiosyncrasies and the mannerisms and the tendencies, man, listen, you will see that, that shit is really low IQ down there. You listen, around blacks, don't relax because they're very unpredictable, man. And then if you guys ever been in, urban neighborhoods, trust me, oh my goodness, man, listen, not to talk my business, dude, but I just watched young niggas, as they say nowadays, I just watch young niggas go to war in my face, 50 feet away from me. I just watch young niggas get shot, possibly die in front of me. Police pulling up, doing a whole investigation. It's crazy. But see, in these urban areas, that's how things work. And again, let me just go ahead and go into number 3. I'm sorry. Yeah, let me go ahead and go into number 3. Down south, what you're going to realize is there are a lot of haters. And again, when you come down south from up north, from the Midwest, from the West Coast, you're different. That's the simple fact. As big as America is, listen, every region is the same across the board. When you go down south from a different region, you will see, listen, everything is different. So when it comes to the haters, listen, and especially if you're from up north, black men, from the South have an underlying hate for you. Listen, I think really they were programmed by their parents. That's really what it is, man. This is like generations of hatred built up. And the reality is, man, listen, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Harriet Tubman is from Maryland. The Underground Railroad that we all learned about, that was existing in Maryland. So realistically, it only helped slaves who were living in Maryland, Kentucky, Virginia, maybe at the lowest North Carolina. Now you have to understand, when slavery ended, there were no motor vehicles. Okay, yes, some people had horses, but how many black men had access to a horse? So most people were on foot, traveling hundreds of miles, thousands of miles, from one place to the next by foot. So again, I get it. Black people, if you were enslaved in Alabama, man, you probably wasn't making it out of Alabama. If you was enslaved in Georgia, you wasn't making it out of Georgia. And not to really make it about slavery, but to bring it back. After 1865 and black people migrated up north, around the 1910s when it started, which was the smart move, blacks down south believe the ones who went up north are judgmental. Trust me, I heard this from people who are actually from the South. Now, let me give you something about myself. My parents aren't even from America, dude. I'm a first generation kid, so I have a third party outlook on America. You feel me? I moved a lot growing up. I lived up north. I lived mid Atlantic. I lived down south before. Like, I really have a good outlook on America. I can see what most people don't see because they're living life day to day. But again, thank goodness I had Caribbean parents. My parents came to America when they were already adults. They just went to New York City, for back then more opportunities. You know what I mean? But see, again, I heard from black people who are actually from the South. They believe that black people who went up north during the migration time period, they are judgmental and look down on the black people who were in the South. And personally, I think it's because they chose to stay in hell. Black women were already betraying you. Black women were already treacherous. Not to mention that Whitey, Connor, whatever you want to call him, he was a savage. Blacks had to listen. Let me give you guys a gem. Southern hospitality only comes from the fact that black people in the South had to maneuver a certain way, or else they would get hung from a tree. And I'm not trying to be funny, but again, to bring it back, the man who created the doctrine, whatever Lynch, he even said when he came to America from the West Indies, he said, "Listen, I can smell a dead nigga." Them guys, listen. They studied black people, man. They studied. They analyzed. They tried to play God. So for you people, listen, I believe what the blacks from up north believe, because, man, listen, why would you want to stay down there? I would have did everything in my power to escape living in the South. Just because, why would you want to be? First of all, you didn't ask to even get put on that ship and brought over here. Then you had to suffer. The one opportunity you got to leave, again, yeah, listen, blacks, when they went up north, all they had was the projects. But man, it was just a small sense of freedom. Yeah, you still had to deal with Italians, Germans, Russians, and everything else white up there. But trust me, man, it was better than being in a place where I was literally oppressed. Literally. But that's the reality, right? And, when it comes to the haters, dude, listen, blacks up north, again, it's just an underlying thing, man. It's just going to always be hatred between blacks up north and blacks down south. And, the ones down south, man, listen, dude, you can't come down south if you're from up north talking that rah-rah shit. You can't come down here trying to, apply that up north game, trying to think you slick. Nah, man, trust me. Trust me. Down south will show you. Yo, we don't play that. I try, trust me. And this one right here, I think this is probably the most important one. But black women, right? What I showed you guys in the beginning of the video, that clip. Listen, people think when they move down to Atlanta, man, that's what it's gonna be like. No, Atlanta's fun for black women. I think, when I was living there, the stats were like 1 to 20. It was one man for every 20 women. And even with that stat, right, the one men, half of them dudes were gay. So, I mean, like, yo, you can say it was open field for guys down there, but no, not really, because if you don't fit the requirements, black women are gonna X you out. And see, one thing I realized about black women as a whole, right? But it's especially down south, and this goes hand in hand with how whitey try to play God, but they're very animalistic. Now, again, if you look at how blacks in Africa mate, it's very animalistic. And even the part of Africa where the majority of slaves in America came from, again, it goes back to my statement. That's the most degenerate area of Africa. Like, if you guys do the stats, the majority of people in Africa cannot read or write. And most of those people are in a very specific region that the majority of American or African American slaves ancestors came from. So again, the evil 80s IQ, the evil 80 IQ people, listen, I'm gonna keep it a stack. They're in the South. They're in the South. Listen, if I'm not mistaken, look it up. I believe it's somewhere in the 50% percentile that blacks commit the most violent crimes in America. Listen, if I'm not mistaken, the majority of crime in America is committed by blacks, at least the violent ones. So again, when it comes to that whole IQ stuff, again, let me really get into it, right? Black women, they only want Tyrone, Glocktavius, Hollow Tip King, Pookie, Ray Ray, whatever you want to call these guys, right? Because the thugs represent masculinity. And for at least 40 to 50 years, degeneracy has been allowed to reproduce. Listen, black women have been programmed. Now, mind you, they were already like this on the motherland continent. But when they came, or when it was brought to America, again, the whitey, he studied and he analyzed that idiosyncrasy in black people. So all he did was just capitalize on it. Therefore, that's how breeding farms came about. So now they hyperfixated on the fact that only black men who were 6'5", fastest, strongest, max size Johnson, these guys get to reproduce. And again, because blacks were already like that on the motherland continent, again, whitey, he took advantage of that. So again, if you wasn't Tyrone on the physical level, you got the scraps of what he received, and you were expected to be happy with that. Now, I understand due to circumstances of how being in those times really were during those 400 years, 500 years. Listen, I get it. Guys just had to accept what they had to get and keep it pushing. But the reality is, see, black women, they've been programmed to breed out intelligence. And the reality is, man, as a race, you cannot go above the women as the men. You know what I mean? A race cannot rise above the women. The women control the reproduction system. So if the women are only chasing after Tyrone's and Glocktavius, and these guys are the ones committing the crimes, mind you, only 30% of black people are actually criminals and these low IQ degenerates, but those guys get to reproduce. For every what's the stat? I forgot the stat, man. I forgot the stat. I believe only like 19%, 20% of like the thugs, the low IQ degenerates, man, they get to reproduce with 75% of black women. So again, when I brought up the whole low IQ thing, bro, what do you expect? What do you expect? The stupidest niggas are being able to have the most the not only just one kid, these guys are popping out 4, 5 children. Because again, black women, they've been programmed low IQ, degeneracy, the whole thug thing, that's masculinity. And again, black people in America, I can't speak for the motherland, but in America, black people, if you look at it, they are fast life strategists, meaning their approach to life, and when it comes to children, let's pop out as many kids as possible and let's see which one sticks against the wall. So not only that black people are promoted to be either athletes or entertainers, that's what they're rooting for. Most black people want to be a rapper or some kind of athlete or an actor or something. So the reality is that's what they're hoping to do. They want to push out 4 and 5 children. Okay, I hope you go to the NBA. I hope you go to the NFL. I hope you go work for Tyler Perry. I hope you go and get some kind of modeling contract or something. You know what I mean? Like they just want you to survive off of your look, off of your physical strength. And that's why as a black man, when you don't have those physical characteristics, man, you're actually looked down upon. But see, that's why other races, right? At least looking at from the outside looking in, right? At least Asian people, white people, you know, Middle Eastern people, when they do come to America, when they get the opportunity, because most of them are, they're dying to, they will give up a lot to come to America. They have a slow life strategy approach to life because listen, the reality is if you're poor, how much sense does it make to have a child and bring your child or children into poverty? Now you're passing, listen, the same quote unquote generational curses, those come from people, well, it stems from a lot of things, but one of the root problems is having a fast life strategy approach to life. Whereas, man, listen, if you didn't take your time, to conquer certain things, to overcome certain mental problems and inner traumas, all you're doing is just passing it on to your offspring. That's all you're doing. So again, with a slow life strategy approach to life, how many other cultures and backgrounds do, you see how when they come to America, they're running shit. That's why Lee, he can build his Chinese restaurant in the black neighborhood. He can sell you cat and dog, right? He can sell you cat and dog, and you're gonna go and eat it. You know why? And he's gonna profit. And he can build his beauty salon, you feel me? Right next to his fried rice and Wong's chicken and fried rice shop. You know what I mean? He can do that. That's why Hajit, he can go and set up a gas station in your neighborhood, and he's selling you all of the liquor. He's selling you all of the backwoods and relos. That's why these guys can do that. That's why Whitey, listen, he may not have a business, but what he has is paperwork. The same paperwork when they dropped black people off in America, the same paperwork how they stole the land from the Aboriginals, the indigenous people, they came over with paperwork. You couldn't read. You couldn't write. So of course, when you sign your name on a dotted line, that was it. That was it. Just for a history lesson, right? For you guys who don't know, when the whole explorers from Europe came over, when they got to New York City, right? Manhattan was owned by a group of Indians. I forgot which tribe it was, but Whitey, he brought paperwork to the Aboriginals, the Indians. Those are the original people, right? He brought paperwork to them and made them sign paperwork handing over Manhattan to who? The Jews. Listen, for you guys who know about New York City for real, again, that's how you know. Anyways, Jews run New York City. Jews run America. but they really run New York City for real. And what people don't realize is, man, listen, they took those same Indians and shipped them down to the West Indies, hence the name the West Indies. Anyways, again, blacks, you know, Whitey, he capitalized off of the whole animalistic, fast life strategy to approach to life, man. And that's why black people are in a position they're in right now. And again, when you look at how black women have evolved since then, again, in the 60s, when black women, when they received welfare and government assistance, man, listen, they took it. They ran from the black community, man. Black men actually built homes. They built towns. They built cities. Again, I don't want to completely take a dump on the South. Black men really put in a lot of hard work to build up the South. But what I'm telling you guys is, man, listen, you're gonna always be oppressed here. And the sad reality is, man, listen, they're controlling blacks by voting fucking Democrat. That's why every state on the East Coast is fucked up. I mean, California fucked up too, but man, the entire East Coast is fucked up. You got too many blacks that want to vote Democrat, and Democrats, all they want to do is take advantage of you. They want you to keep popping out 4, 5, and 6 babies. They want you to keep having your children in these environments where they can get shot every day. They're gonna keep putting drugs and guns into these neighborhoods. Listen, even Joe Biden said, "My children will not go to school with those animals." Who is he talking about? Come on, son. Like, you guys better stop. Listen, the women of America are owned by the damn government, especially black women. Black people were used as the damn guinea pigs in America. Every single test. Listen, the way how America is right now, those tests have been ran on the black community since the fucking beginning, dude. 500 years. So what I'm telling you guys, yo, stop dealing with black women, bro. They're too far gone. They're too far gone. There are no good ones, dude. I've never seen. Listen, I'm 25 years old. I've never seen a black man with a black woman and he winning. Maybe a black woman who's not from this country. Maybe. And 10 times out of 10, he's a black man who's not even from the country himself. So yeah, in that case, but no, I'm sorry, man. African American women, no, man, them AAs, they're done. That's why I call them the AA 2000. That's why I call them the AA 3PO. That's why I call them the AA of destruction, man. They're like fucking androids, Android 18 and 17. That's what they're like. It's crazy, man. Hold on, I got so far off from the Atlanta video, man. But let me get back to it, right? And to really finish it off, again, when you go down south, let's keep it a stack, man. The food is killing you. I'm gonna make that video real soon. The stats in the South are low, dude. IQ is low, health expectancy is low, life expectancy is low. Dude, everything, man. Literacy is low, education is low. Everything is low in the South, dude. If you look at these stats and you compare economy, job market, education, literacy, health, life expectancy, opportunities. Listen, everything is low in the South, dude. I said this before. You move down south. Listen, if you want to move down south before you are able to retire in life, you have to move down south as a boss. Again, you need a college degree. You need some kind of skill certification, a trade, or you just have that entrepreneur bone in you, and you can make it out there, bro. Now, entrepreneurs can't make it down south, but let me say this. When you go down south, black-owned businesses are attacked by other black people. You feel me? You will think that, oh man, I'm a black man. I'm living down south. I got this business. Yeah, my people, they gonna support me. Let me tell you some real shit. Because you're black and because your customer base will be black, they want deals. You can possibly be giving them the best deal already, and they want a better deal than the deal you're already giving them. Blacks, listen, they're not Listen, it's hard to support black-owned businesses, man, because one thing they're gonna do is charge you arm and leg, dude, arm and leg. If you're buying food, trust me, you're paying twice as much as you will pay for Whitey at his establishment. And yeah, you might possibly say, yeah, the food is gonna taste better. Okay. One thing about the food down south is killing you. Yes, it may taste good, but it's causing high blood pressure. It's causing cholesterol. It's causing type 2 diabetes. Blacks down south are dying. Most black people down south don't live past 75 because, and that's if they even make it to 75. But the food is killing them. Listen, the environment again down south, the whole culture down south is, yeah, let me kick my feet up, football, beer, chicken wings. You know what I mean? Kick my feet up. Nobody exercise. Most guys down south are fat. You know what I mean? Most guys are fat. And then lastly, and this pertains to the actual clip you watched in the beginning. Listen, stuff like that, man. One thing about Atlanta, and I actually heard this from people. Listen. I've heard this from the women and guys, right? One thing about the South and how it's set up. Again, most HBCUs are in the South, so black people who go down south or black people who go to these colleges, HBCUs or whatever, right? They pledge Greek. Now, the people who are actually doing good down south, the black people, most of them have a college degree, honestly. Like truly honestly, man. Most black people who are living down south and they are from the South, went to school in the South, listen, they have a college degree because they realize that's the only way you can actually make money living down South. You need a college degree, a trade, some kind of skill, you're a handyman, or you're an entrepreneur. And I already told you guys in the beginning, most people do not go to college, let alone can even afford college. You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, when you come down south, okay, yeah, you think you coming down south to do what? Prosper? No, thank you. The South is set up a very particular way. And to get back to it, right? Yes, those same black people who go and join those fraternities and sororities. Listen, in that video I showed you guys at the beginning, that's who hangs out at those kind of places in Atlanta. I'm speaking from experience. Doesn't matter if it's a rooftop lounge, club, bar, kickback party, whatever. Listen, I went to college in Atlanta. That's why I can speak like this, dude. I know what it's. I know what I'm talking about. And listen, down south, everybody is in the damn fraternity. Everybody who knows who. Everybody who really has some kind of influence or pull that can maybe open up a door for you. Listen, they're part of the Divine Nine. That's how it works down there, dude. They're clicked up, and if you're not clicked up, if nobody can vouch for you in that kind of way, man, listen, you're not going down south making friends, especially if you from up north. They don't want you down there. Really, dude. But anyways, that's it for the South, man. And listen, you guys keep going down there. Deal with the stress. Deal with the stress. Again, they're trying. Listen, if you guys watch the one video I made on my channel, they're trying to really hyper focus on entertainment. Last time I checked, when I was living in Atlanta, dude, that was what 2023. I moved 2023. The last time I saw, listen, they were actually having plans on building like these. Dude, it's pretty much just entertainment based. I don't really know how to describe it because it's not really in. Well, at least last time I checked, it wasn't in full-fledged progress yet. But the plan was signed off on. It was approved. So it's only a matter of time. But I'm trying to tell you guys, they want to distract you from your suffering poverty life with entertainment. So they want you to be worried about football. They want you to be worried about, the new club being opened up. As long as you're entertained. You don't mind suffering. Anyways, I'm out. Peace. Blessings. Oh.